guys, and welcome back to Unjaded Jade. I want to take you back to 11-year-old me. This was not the finest time of my life. I was very insecure. There were just many rocky years of secondary school, from people making fun of me to just feeling very insecure around popular people. And I can remember I had to take the bus to school, so I would get in so much earlier than everyone else. There was this 40-minute period where we would sit in the morning in our form room and have to make awkward small talk with people. I remember dreading the chit chat. I just didn't want to do it. I would shuffle awkwardly. I would overthink everything I was saying. I would stumble on my words. I can remember just not knowing what to do with my hands. I didn't know how to be funny. I still don't think I'm funny, but I guess you just make do with whatever skills you do have. And so this is the shy Jade of the past. I don't know if you've ever met me in real life or how much you know about my personality now, but I would very much say I am extroverted. With the right people, with new people, I get a lot of energy having deep, meaningful, good conversation. And although I desperately crave my alone time a lot, and although I'm so comfortable in my own company, I love people. And today I'm going to talk to you about how I went from feeling so awkward talking to people, especially new people, to actually just thriving off of it, because it is possible, that shift. Also, people assume that some people are just naturally good at conversation, naturally really confident, and although that's true, whatever you are naturally, more introverted or more extroverted, it doesn't matter, because you can learn and practice to be the other one. But before we start, I really want to redefine and reposition introversion and extroversion. There's this commonly held notion that introversion is worse. And firstly, in my opinion, no one is just introverted or just extroverted. I think people are both. I think we change in different situations. And also, in such a loud world, I think introversion and being quietly introspective and reflective is such an asset. So there is a lot of worth in introversion, and I don't want you to just think that your personality is worse. However, this world is built to make life easier for extroverts. Being able to socialize and talk to people in a meaningful way helps you get a job, it helps you make friends, it helps you slot into social circumstances. It's something like 80% of jobs are not through applying directly, but instead gone through people that you know. The whole who you know, unfortunately, does kind of matter, and building up a network matters. So today I'm going to give you some tips and advice for how I went from being more shy to being relatively confident with people. I hope this helps as well if you're starting university or starting school. And that brings me on really nicely to the very kind sponsor of today's video, who I've worked with many times before, and I just think they're amazing. Unite Students is one of the leading accommodation providers in the UK. Literally 27 different cities across the UK they operate in. And what I really love about them is their accommodation is supportive. It is students are at the heart of it. They just want students to succeed and do well. And especially with COVID and everything going on, they were the first student accommodation provider to cancel rent for people who had to leave because of COVID-19. So they're just a really good ethics organisation. They want to help. They put a welfare support scheme in to help students. So for example, international students who had to stay in the country, some could stay in the accommodation for free. They have a flexible booking process. So for example, if your start dates for uni keep shifting, you can change it and not pay for time you're not there. So yeah, if you're starting uni and looking for good supportive accommodation in these uncertain times, check out their website down below. Okay, so I'm going to give you 5 pieces of advice. The first one is to stop overthinking. This crippled me when I was younger. You do that thing where you plan out the sentence in your head before you say it? Literally, as someone is speaking, you're formulating a reply that you think is funny or cool or interesting, or a good question that won't leave you with an awkward silence. You just keep thinking about it. And the second you start overthinking what you're going to say, that is not only when you stop listening, but it's kind of the way you stop truly being yourself and just naturally being there in the conversation. It's you wanting to be perfect, and that often leads to you actually stumbling on the sentence more. So as hard as it is to say, stop overthinking. For example, if you're meeting a new person, you see them over there, you want to network with them, don't overthink it. Don't overthink what you have to say first. Just breathe in Go 3, 2, 1, breathe out and just walk towards them, and you just start the conversation. Just don't overthink at the start. And if you're not overthinking, that means you're going to be listening more, which brings me on to my second point, and that is listening. Every good conversation pivots from listening well. And this is why I think conversations with more introverted people are often better, because I think introverted people are generally better at listening. It's less noise, more thought. And asking thoughtful questions genuinely makes people feel happy and safe in your presence, because they feel validated, they feel listened to. It gives your conversation a flow and a direction to listen to what they're saying, and then just be like genuinely curious about different aspects of what they're saying. Like delve into something they've brought up. Don't be afraid to use something they've said as a hook to talk about your similar experience. So for example, maybe they went on holiday somewhere, like, oh, use that as a hook. I went to this place and I had like this similar experience, this contrasting experience. And it sounds obvious and it sounds easy, but I know that at the age of 13, like I really just struggled with that idea, like being able to really naturally pivot in the conversation. I just overthink everything. I just am a perfectionist person. Number 3, questions. And I'm gonna separate this into 2 parts, small talk and interesting, meaningful questions. Firstly, small talk. Mate, no one likes small talk, but here's the thing. You've got to get yourself a mental bank of small talk questions. New people, it's actually relatively easy. The more you do it, the more you flex that muscle of having to meet new people, the more you realise that like, there's only really so much you can ask. Where are you from? What brought you here? How do you know the host? What are you passionate about? What are you studying? What are the best bits about what you're studying? What are the worst bits about what you're studying? Do you have any brothers or sisters? Tell me a bit about your family. Tell me about your culture. Tell me about your country. Some of them have the potential to be more meaningful conversation, but they also have the potential to be like surface level small talk based off of the context. And just don't be afraid of silence either. I was always so scared of like an awkward silence. But yeah, I think having that bank of small talk questions is just a handy start. But the next part, which I find much more interesting, is deep, meaningful questions. No one really likes small talk. Small talk isn't memorable. And especially if you're trying to network, you're trying to make friends, pushing beneath the surface is so useful to actually see someone, to see the things that are challenging them right now, to see their hopes, their dreams, their interests. And I think, again, this is often what more introverted people are better at doing, is coming with less judgment. I feel like when you're really loud and overly confident, people are less likely to share that kind of detail with you. Okay, I don't know if you've ever heard of the, I think is it 21 questions? There's like these questions to fall in love. Don't worry, I'm not saying you have to fall in love with the person you're trying to talk to, but these questions, it is worth memorizing a few of them, because if you are trying to change a small talk conversation into a more interesting one, they allow you to probe a little more interesting. For example, say you were talking about, I don't know, their family or growing up. If you could change one thing about the way you were raised, what would you change and why? Like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like, oh, I've got to think about that one, you know? It's like they get to reveal something to themselves through that question as well, which is interesting. If societal expectations and money didn't matter, what is your dream career? What would you be doing with your life if none of that mattered? And again, this is like a kind of conversation question that people come away from feeling like they have gained too, because they're reflecting. They're like, what do I want to do with my life? Like sometimes that can be quite clarifying. Another question I like is, what does a happy life look like to you? You can learn a lot about someone. You can learn if they just want to read all day on the beach, or if they want to just be with their family, or like, I don't know, it's just interesting. Okay, number 4, talk to strangers. This is incredible practice and incredibly hard to do in the country of the UK, where at least, especially in the South, people are very reserved and like don't talk to strangers, especially on like the tube and in London. But that creates the perfect space to get out of your comfort zone. So I remember when I was about 15, I decided to force myself. Every time I went up to a cashier desk or a barista, I'd always ask them how their day is. Like, oh, how are you today? And like sometimes I remember I'd literally like think it in my head, like, say it, Jade, say it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just say it. And you know, like you're faffing around, you're like, do I say it, do I say it? And you just do. And often these people don't get asked how their day is. So it's kind of like a beautiful moment where they're like, oh yeah, I'm actually kind of stressed today. And then you're like, oh, I'm sorry, like, I really appreciate what you're doing for me making this. It's an opportunity to make someone's day, it's an opportunity for them to make yours. Also, I'm just going to throw this out there, because I have started to have conversations with more baristas, I think I have been given the free Pret on the house thing like 5 times or something. I didn't even know it existed, but basically like once a day or once an hour or something, I'm not sure, the barista can give a customer their meal, their order on the house. So if that's not an incentive to just be nice, I don't know what is. And after a while that just becomes more habit, and you're talking to new people all the time, even if it is these tiny small talk moments. It's never going to be completely easy. There's never going to be a right time to start trying. You just have to keep doing it until it feels slightly less uncomfortable. Especially post-coronavirus, like seeing new people, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. And number 5, potentially the most important thing of all, is energy. People can feel whatever you are trying to give out. If you focus on helping people, uplifting people, wanting to actually listen in a conversation, like everyone can feel that. Equally, if you're just judging them silently and just being kind of horrible, like you can feel that. So even if you don't know what to say, even if you feel very awkward, smile and just have in your mind the energy you're trying to put out, and people will feel that. Also, at the end of the day, you're cool if you want to be cool. Like, I always thought I was a nerd at school, but at the end of the day, no, Jade, you're really cool. Like, you like learning is cool. If I'd owned it just a little bit more, maybe I would have felt more comfortable talking. People will think of you as inviting and warm if you put out inviting and warm. And lastly, it's only awkward if you make it awkward. And unfortunately, I'm not the best at this. I often make it really awkward because I'm just an awkward person. I found this especially on Zoom, where social cues are more difficult. Like being in a group call of like 10 people, I really don't like it that much. Compared to being in real life where you can control how the conversation goes, you can talk to people more easily. I've felt like I've just gone backwards socially a lot since coronavirus. Like, I know it's a global pandemic, the last thing I should be thinking about is whether or not I can be social. But yeah, I do feel like I've lost some of that practice, you know? So I guess my advice for myself and for you on that is, again, to stop overthinking, but also something in discussion with friends, which I found is like a nice way to pivot a conversation, is we like to focus so much on what people are doing. What have you done this week? What are you doing today? What are you focusing on? Blah, blah, blah. Instead of asking how they are, like truly, like how are you, instead of what you're doing. And I find when I get into more honest conversation, I forget that there's a screen there. Yeah, and I guess that's my advice for today. I really hope this helps you in some way. When we all go back to normal, when we all have to socially interact again, if you're starting uni, whatever, just don't put pressure on yourself and good things will come. Law of attraction, put out the energy, imagine yourself being confident, and you just will be, you will attract that. Check out Unite students below, they are a great accommodation service. And thanks so much for watching. Bye.